Hello, this is Andrew Thate from Minds and Money, and on today's Minds and Money TV, delighted to be joined by George Young, Chairman and CEO of Altair Resources. Delighted to go and meet you, George.
Likewise, and thank you for this opportunity to have an interview with you, Andrew.
Hey, excellent to hear. Perhaps you can start off by telling me and the listeners there a little bit about your background.
I'd be happy to. I have a degree in metallurgical engineering. I graduated quite a while ago in that field. Worked in the copper industry in a copper smelter, got a fair amount of technical background, and being involved in changing a complete changeover of a smelter in terms of the environmental requirements and so forth made me realize that the lawyers call a lot of the shots in this business. And so I decided to pull up and go back to school and get a law degree. So I have a degree in engineering and in law.
Okay. I also understand that you've been involved in a number of deals in the past. Can you perhaps just tell us a little bit more?
Yes, I've had the good fortune of being involved in a number of interesting opportunities. I was the founding president of MAG Silver Corporation, which is a fairly successful silver exploration and production company in Mexico. Later on, I had the opportunity of being a co-founder of a company called International Royalty Corporation, which was a very successful startup in the royalty business and was actually taken out by Royal Gold. I've also been a founder of a company called Altair Resources, which was acquired by Viceroy, and a number of other companies, including more recently Line One Metals, which is doing an excellent job of exploration in Fiji, actually, a fun place to do a mining deal.
So you've had an absolutely fantastic, stellar track record. So tell us a little bit about Altair Resources and what has attracted you to them.
Altair is a very exciting emerging company, and I'm very pleased to be involved with Altair. We have recently entered into two very exciting acquisition agreements. One for the acquisition of two producing gold mines, actually, with JORC Resources on one of them, about 1.9 million ounces, and about 500,000 historic resources on the other one. And another agreement for the acquisition of a feasibility stage project in Burkina Faso, hosting about 1.4 million ounces and ready to get started into the feasibility process now. Mm-hmm. So Altair, I think, is a very exciting emerging company. And I think it's a rare opportunity that you have that sort of deal flow right as you're coming out the gate.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that one of your projects was in Burkina Faso. What is Burkina Faso like as a mining jurisdiction for those listeners who haven't been there?
Well, Burkina Faso has been very much one of the hot areas in the past decade or so. There are a number of fairly large companies there operating and producing. And we are in a very exciting mineral trend. We think we'll have a whole district play there. The 1.4 million ounces we have now is, as I say, ready to be moved down the feasibility process. And comparing what we have and what we will have through the feasibility process, that should naturally give us around a 300 to 400 million market valuation just on that project alone. Okay.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your management team? Because you've obviously talked about the experience that you've got, but I understand you've assembled a fantastic team beneath you. So would love to hear more about that.
Dusty Nickel is our Vice President of Exploration. Dusty and I worked together over 20 years ago with a company called Canyon Resources. And we were looking at a number of emerging areas jointly at that time with him as our exploration manager there. And Dusty has tremendous experience, not only as an exploration geologist, but also in management and in operations as well. So he brings a wealth of experience to the company. Vince Spinelli is on our advisory board, and he has tremendous experience in engineering and in resource development. And we've also recently brought on our advisory board Lawrence Ralston, who is a very savvy professional in the markets in general in mining, and he's been very helpful in advising us in financial issues, etc. So we have a great team, and like I say, I think we're just ready to break out as an emerging company.
Mm-hmm. So, what sort of like, is there any other sort of recent news you'd like to highlight to investors listening in, or any sort of like sort of plans you've got on the horizon that you'd like to go and highlight to them?
Absolutely. The recent news, of course, was the hiring of Dusty Nickel. And when we went to Kazakhstan, where we have the two producing gold mines that we've signed the agreement to acquire, he took a look at the exploration. He took a look at, of course, all the geology, and realized that the exploration was done on those projects during the Soviet era primarily. And the Soviets don't quite have the same approach to exploration as we do in the West. And he believes that taking a step back a bit and looking more with the vision that you have from the Western approach of exploration, we can probably double those resources. He believes that a fairly low risk and reasonable exploration target is the doubling of those resources, and that would give us around 5 million ounces in resource categories. And keep in mind, one of our properties there is on the Charsk gold belt in the northeastern side of Kazakhstan. We're just down the road from a 10 million ounce deposit that's in production by Polymetal, where they produce gold at about $500 cash cost.
Yeah.
That one, also in that trend is Glencore's 5 million ounce deposit that's in production. So we are in very much elephant country where we are, and we're excited to get Dusty to really expand our resource base there.
Yeah, I went to Kazakhstan a few years ago, and I have to say I was blown away. But if I'm just going to deliberately just play devil's advocate here, sometimes when I talk to investors, they go, "I just don't invest in the stans." And obviously, you've had some recent news as to what's going on in Kazakhstan, or is it now the Czech Republic, and sort of Centera, etc. What would you say to investors that go, "No, I don't go and invest in the stans, full stop"? What's different about Kazakhstan?
Well, I'm not an expert in that area, but I was very impressed when I visited Kazakhstan. Very stable country, I believe. Very much a melting pot. You have a number of Europeans, you have Asians, you have a lot of Russians, you have a lot of a real melting pot, and I felt a lot of stability when I was there. It's certainly extremely well endowed mineralogically, and it's very underexplored. So our approach, Andrew, is that we think we have a very strategic opportunity to build value there. We're not going to take a lot of risk for the company. We have a company maker in Burkina Faso. We're going to be focusing on moving Burkina Faso forward and looking at strategic opportunities to build partnership relationships and so forth in quite an exciting, I'll call it a very underexplored area, which we think is going to be in the next decade one of the most exciting areas in this industry. I think it's going to open up. I think it's primed to open up and do extremely well in Kazakhstan.
Sure. Okay. Well, look, thank you very, very much for that. Thank you very much for your time, George. It sounds you've got a fantastic company there, and I really do wish you and Altair Resources all the best, and would certainly encourage our listeners to go and check out Altair Resources. Thank you very much for your time. That was George Young, Chairman and CEO of Altair Resources, with Andrew Thake from Mines and Money. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.